Today on the Goodle Days, the untold origin of the tattoo taboo. Tattoos. About 20% of the US population has one nowadays. In fact, we've been putting markings on ourselves long before we ever put pen to paper, or rock to other rock. So why did the taboo surrounding tattoos persist for so long in the West? And what can the history of tattoos teach us about ourselves in order to find out? The history of tattoos is very murky. We know a lot less than we would probably like to. The best that we can say is that it developed independently across many different cultures around the world, meaning that it's almost impossible to determine the true origin of the practice. Tracking the origin of the taboo surrounding tattoos in the West is equally difficult to pin down. After all, one of the oldest known examples of tattooing can be found on the Iceman Otzi, one of the most well-preserved natural mummies ever found, which dates all the way back to 3200 BC in the Italian Alps. So, what happened between then and now to turn Otzi from a kindly Ice Age throwback into a subversive counterculturalist? One possible answer can be traced to the lasting impact of European colonialism. You see, various people of the South Pacific have had a rich tradition of tattooing going back thousands of years, from the Batak tattooing of the various indigenous tribes of the Philippines to the Maori Tomoko tattoos. The word tattoo itself is of Tahitian origin. However, when Captain James Cook, the famous British explorer and, let's say, complicated historical figure, returned to England from his various expeditions to the South Pacific, he brought back with him examples and accounts of the tattooed people that inhabited the area. In fact, many of his crewmen actually received tattoos themselves, popularizing the image of sailors with tattoos in the process. It was these associations, along with the traditional use of tattoos to brand prisoners, which created a lasting image of tattoos in Western society. They were foreign, uncivilized, and a sign of untrustworthiness. So it was James Cook. Great, it was just this one guy. He's the reason that we have a taboo around tattoos, right? Well, it doesn't tell the whole story. Indeed, we'll have to go a little bit farther if we want to find the true origins of the taboo, all the way back to the rise of the Abrahamic religions. Leviticus is the part of the Bible where God laid out to Moses several holiness codes meant to form the collection of laws for the Israelites to follow on their exodus from Egypt. And in chapter 19, verse 28, God said to Moses this. So, this Bible verse alone can best illustrate why much of Western society views tattooing in a negative light. But hold on, 20% of the US population still has one. So why have tattoos risen in popularity in the last century? Well, in the late 19th century, tattoos experienced a steady rise in popularity with the advent of the electrical tattoo machine, and by the 1930s, approximately 1 in 10 Americans had one. By the end of World War II, several artists had differentiated themselves for their unique style and aesthetic features of their artwork, such as Sailor Jerry, whose ink would go on to be the basis of the American traditional style of tattooing, as well as other artists like Lyle Tuttle and Cliff Raven. And by the late 1970s, tattoos had evolved into a mainstream fashion statement. Tattoo culture has continued its growth well into the 21st century, and nowadays tattoos have come full circle. Now it's seen as more of a mundane body modification which anyone can get for a few bucks and a drunk friend at a frat party. What other taboos do you see being gone in the coming decades? And what sort of taboos do you think will exist in the future? Let us know in the comments. Want more history content like this? Follow the Goodle Days on all social medias, share the video, and tag a friend who loves history. We'll see you in the next one. Brought to you by ScripTalk. Talking prescription labels for the visually impaired.